I'm Craig Fraser, and I'm the District Attorney for the Dublin Judicial Circuit, and this is the show, The District Attorney. I'm happy today to have with us a real good friend of mine, Mr. Wesley Chester. He's from Wrightsville, Georgia. He's retired postmaster. He's been a friend of mine for many, many years, and he's our guest today on our program, and I think he has an interesting story. I think all of our viewers are going to be I use the word thrilled. They're going to be thrilled to hear what he has to say. I know my wife, it's one of her favorite stories that she hears Mr. Wesley tell, and I think the community needs to hear it. I think the community needs to know about it. And I want to welcome Mr. Wesley Chester. Mr. Chester, thank you for being here with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wesley, let me just preface this. You're married, your wife, Miss Annabelle. I think y'all have got 3 children. And I think Mr. Wesley told me he had, what the most important thing, he had 4 grandchildren. And 5, excuse me. He's got 5 grandchildren. He's a very rich man. But Mr. Wesley has been a friend of mine, as I said, for a number of years. And one afternoon we were talking, and my wife and I were talking with Mr. Wesley, and he began to tell us about what he had done in his service to our country during World War II. And it was a most inspiring story. It's one that has caused me to stop and think about the sacrifices that has been made for this country over our history. And I just think that it's a wonderful story to hear, and I want him to share it with all of our viewers. Mr. Wesley, let's just get into the story. I think you said that you entered the service at 18 years old.
Correct.
And what branch of service did you go in?
I went into the Army Air Force.
Okay, and you were on a flight crew, B-17?
Well, yes, but let me give you a little background.
Okay.
I was inducted in Fort McPherson in Atlanta, Georgia. And from there, we were classified, and I went into the Army Air Force. And from there, I went to Keesler Field, Mississippi, where I had basic training. And after our basic training, we left Keesler Field on a train for 6.5 days. We stayed on a train to Las Vegas, Nevada, where we had flight training, and we flew out of Neville's Field for about 3 months there. Then we went to Tampa, Florida, to Drew Field, where we started with our overseas training for the 15th Air Force. I was moved into the 15th Air Force, and I was in the 301st Bomb Group, 353rd Squadron. And we left after our training at Drew Field. We left and went to Savannah, Georgia, and picked up a new B-17 Flying Fortress bomber. We flew that overseas to North Africa, then to Italy. We flew out of North Africa and made missions out of North Africa, and then we moved up to Foggia, Italy, to an airfield, and from there we started our mission.
Mr. Wesley, what was on the Fortress? What was your job?
I was an engineer, and you could fly in different positions there. You could fly in, except for the ball turret. I never did want to fly in the ball turret or the tail gunner.
That's what we see, those little round glass cages.
Underneath.
That's
right.
Never wanted to do that.
I never wanted to fly in a ball turret.
As I understand, Mr. Wesley, you had flown many missions, but on the 36th mission that y'all were flying, that's where our story really begins. What you've done was certainly exciting. You arrived a long way from Wrightsville, Georgia, but on the 36th mission, which I believe was, as you told me, of 1944, December the 18th, on your 36th mission. Tell us what happened on that mission.
Well, on that particular mission, we encountered some anti-aircraft fire, and it started a fire in the plane.
Now, where were y'all flying? Flying over?
We had flown to some target up in Augsburg, Germany. And then we had made it back that far, and the plane was on fire, and we started losing altitude, and finally the pilot told us we must bail out. And we were up about 9,000 feet when we bailed out, about 2 miles up when we bailed out.
And your, I think you told me that y'all's parachutes was on the front. You had them located on the front of your...
A chest type chute. And when you bailed out, you had to free fall and then pull your rip cord.
You didn't have a static cord where you just bailed
not like
out?
the paratroopers, no.
Okay. What time of the day was this, Mr. Wesley?
It was about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay. I believe you told me too, orders had been given by the German government to kill all airmen that they found.
Adolf Hitler had an order not to take any more airmen, prisoners. They would immediately be killed on the site.
So when you came out of that airplane, you didn't know what you were facing down below, did you?
Didn't know what country I was coming into.
What kind of, I guess, what had you been issued for as in the case that you had to bail out? Our viewers would probably like to know, what had you been given that you had with you to help you survive?
What had I been given?
Yes, sir.
The only thing I had with me was 2 bars of cannery and 2 lifesavers.
2 lifesavers.
2 lifesavers.
Is that the lifesavers like we think about
That's
now?
exactly right. The little mint lifesavers.
Right. Well, Mr. Wesley, tell us what happened when you come out of that plane and you started down. What time of the day was it?
It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. And as
excuse me, you were 18 years old.
I was 19 years. I was 19 years of age when I bailed out of the airplane.
Good Lord, and your birthday was what day?
December the 22nd.
So you were just right before your birthday.
Before the
20th birthday.
20th birthday. I
Okay.
spent my 20th birthday missing in action.
Well, tell us, when you come out of that airplane and you started down, go ahead and tell our viewers about this. This is one of the most interesting, exciting stories that I've ever had the privilege to be in, to talk to, and someone actually that was participating. We've read it in books, we've read it and we've seen it on TV, but we have with us, as I said today, Mr. Wesley Chester, who actually lived it. Go ahead and tell us, Mr.
When I bailed out of the airplane, I was falling, and my chute started back and forth, like a pentagon. And I didn't know what I was going to do to stop it. I thought maybe I might go over and it might collapse the chute. So I started pulling on the shroud lines and finally got it stabilized where I was falling straight down. And the wind was blowing real hard, snowing, sleeting. And by the way, I did tell you, we were fired. They fired at us as we were falling in the parachute, but we were lucky we wasn't hit.
Okay.
And I fell into a large forest and a large tree. I went into a large tree, and I turned myself around to keep the limbs penetrating, might lose some eyes. But I lost a little skin and bummed up a little bit.
Right.
But I was fortunate enough to climb down the tree, take the parachute, stuck it in my bosom, and then when the limbs were so high up, I couldn't reach around the tree, so I had to jump. And it was luckily, there was about 2 feet of snow, and it cushioned my fall. And from there, we had a small escape kit that they issued us, and it had a compass in it and about $75 in American money, and had rubberized maps of Europe, and had a little small hacksaw, so if you got in jail, you could cut your way out. But
luckily,
anyway,
you never got into jail.
I never did get captured and get into jail. But I knew that I had to go in a southern direction with my compass. We had a small little compass in the escape kit. And I started walking in snow, about 1 foot to 2 feet of snow. And I walked till I was completely exhausted. And I knew that this would be the end of the journey for this Wesley Chester.
Wrightsville, Georgia, that was the end of it.
I thought that I said, I know that I will freeze to death tonight. And it was snowing and sleeting, and I went as far as I could go. And when I got up against a large tree, and when I did, I took the parachute, covered it over me, and part of it I sat down on. And it was sleeting and snowing, and you know who I called on, the good master, to carry me through the night.
Mr. Wesley, with that, I'm getting a signal we need to take a break. We're going to be right back in just a few moments and finish hearing Mr. Wesley Chester tell us about what happened over Europe 1944 winter after he bailed out of a B-17 airplane over any territory. We'll be right back.
Imagine a place of love and support, a place of warmth and beauty, a place where independence thrives, but help is only a call away. Welcome to the Benton House. Benton House serves seniors who love their independence, but are wary of cooking, cleaning, and home upkeep. Included with each apartment home is a full array of services, including all meals, convenient housekeeping services, and a full social event calendar. Call Benton House to learn more.
Hi, I'm Deborah Brazil, Executive Director of Benton House. Come and see us and take a tour.
I'm Pam Green, the Community Relations Director. When you're at Benton House, you're at home.
Come to Best Buy Autos in Dublin and drive home today with no money down. That's right, no money down delivers any one of our quality cars, trucks, vans, or SUVs. All you pay is Georgia State sales tax. Best Buy Autos, you will never be turned down, regardless of your credit situation. That's right, good, bad, or no credit delivers because we are the bank and we say yes. Come to Best Buy Autos today and ride today with no money down. That's Best Buy Autos across from the VA Hospital in Dublin. Or call 1-866-920-SAVE-SAVE. Our number says it all.
When Citizens Bank of Lawrence County started the Student Advisory Council, we had one thing in mind: to take some of our best young people and give them the tools needed to become the community leaders of tomorrow. After all, the young are the future, and Citizens Bank of Lawrence County is committed to making our future brighter for everyone. The Student Advisory Council, brought to you by Citizens Bank of Lawrence County, member FDIC.
Dublin-Macon Cardiology has been serving our community for 20 years.
I want to make a difference in the community. I want to make a difference in the care provided in the community.
Middle Georgia, you have a choice when it comes to competent cardiac care. You need someone you can trust. Get the care you need and deserve without driving for miles. Dr. Vega and Dr. DeHunko at Dublin-Macon Cardiology, Hospital Drive in Dublin, bringing state-of-the-art cardiac care close to home.
Welcome back. We're speaking today with Mr. Wesley Chester, friend of mine and veteran of World War II. Mr. Chester is, for the people who have just joined us, Mr. Chester is explaining and retelling us about how he was shot down over enemy territory in World War II in the European theater, and he bailed out at 19 years old, a few days before his birthday. And he's telling us how he survived, and I told earlier the viewers that I just thought it was a wonderful story, and I wanted them to hear it and hear firsthand some of the sacrifices that have been made by the servicemen of our country to give us the freedoms that we have and that we enjoy every day. Mr. Wesley, I think you just told us you were on the ground. You had your parachute, and at that point in time, you knew the good master was with you, and you knew that the Lord was protecting you, and please tell us about that and go ahead with your story.
Well, I dug me out a place around the tree, got the snow away from me, and I sat down, put the parachute over me, and it was continually snowing and sleeting. And I knew that would be the end for me. Mm-hmm. But did you know I slept good that night? I woke up the next day, the sun was shining. I got up, and I knew that I'd have to maneuver at night. I could not move in the daytime because we were back of enemy lines.
Right.
And I could not be on any public roads or be captured. Mm-hmm. And you know, being captured, that would be the end.
Right, there are orders, I think you told us earlier, to kill any airman found.
Right. And I moved at night and stayed in the woods for 4 nights that I stayed. And during that time, I kept the parachute with me and covered up at night just like I did the first time. And on the 5th day,
Now, you had not seen, excuse me, but you had not seen any of your other crew members. You don't know what happened to them.
never did see it, none of them except one that I'm fixing to tell you
Okay,
about.
okay.
And on the 5th day, almost dusk dark, I heard a voice, a distressed voice, and I didn't imagine what it could be or what could be a setup for me to be captured. But I did move towards the voice, and almost in complete darkness, I could see a silhouette of a man. And I got a little closer, and he kept yelling, and found out it was one of my crew members. And you know that was a very happy reunion for both of us to
I'm sure
know.
it was.
And he and I moved together, and at that time, I had the 2 bars of cannon and the 2 packs of lifesavers. Was all we had for 4 days, and had plenty of snow to eat for water.
Wow.
And we approached a small cabin on the side of a mountain, almost dusk dark, with a little smoke coming out of the chimney.
Now, let me ask you, did you have any weapons with you?
I did not have any weapons. They issue a 45 automatic, but it was so heavy and bunglesome and inaccurate gun, I didn't want to carry it with me, so I'd always leave mine back at the tent.
Okay.
But my buddy, he had his with him.
He had his.
He had his with him. And we approached this house, and I told him that I would stay back or I would go to the door. And I made an entry to the door, knocked on the door, and an old man came to the door. He could speak no English, and he saw that we were American airmen. We motioned to him how we were, that we were shot down, and he understood that. And then the next day, we spent the night with this old man that particular night, and we were mighty glad to get into shelter. And then we started moving at night, and every night, mostly we would be in a different place. I slept in barns, under beds, attics, you name it, wherever I slept, because they had to hide me, or had they been caught with me there, it would have been their life.
Right, right. At that point in time, too, you didn't know whether the population where they were pro-German or anti-German at that time.
Never did.
A double risk at that time.
A double risk every entry I made.
Every entry you made.
That's right.
Well, how about your food, Mr. Wesley? Were y'all being fed by this time?
Fed, we had just as much feed as they could possibly, but the food was short supply.
Right, right.
We had a lot of missed meals.
You wasn't eating as good as you do now.
Not by no means, no means, no means.
Well, Mr. Wesley, after you was shuttled along, do you know what country you were in? Did you even have any idea?
I didn't have any idea where we was in Austria or any part of Germany. Because when you up at 30,000 feet, you didn't know what country you were in.
Right. I think, too, you was probably down in, I think we talked earlier, in some of those little Balkan countries, Yugoslavia.
Right.
Those areas down
Right.
in there, Serbia and those.
Right.
But,
Finally did find out we were in Yugoslavia.
okay.
And those people were so nice to the airmen. They saved a lot of airmen, just exactly like my case.
When y'all were heading, you said in a southerly direction the whole
Right,
time.
right.
Heading, I'm assuming, to the coastline.
Right.
And go ahead and tell us how you finally made it down.
Well, we kept traveling. Mostly we traveled at night. And those people were so nice to us. And